All right. Happy New Year 2023. I wish you a very happy and prosperous New Year. And I'm going to start the new videos in this year. So for some reason, I'm going to start this year with a troubleshooting video on least cost fit formulation spreadsheet. So I believe you've got my contact information already. I have put those information in my YouTube channel, and you have my email address, my business WhatsApp number, Instagram, and you can just contact me if you have any questions. So I would prefer to answer your questions in the comments area of each video, so everybody can see what your question was and what my answer was, because your question maybe is a question for other people as well. But sometimes, let's say you have a problem in formulating a diet using the spreadsheet, using a feed formulation software. So in that case, I need to have a look at that file and try to troubleshoot your problem. So recently, one of my subscribers sent me his feed formulation spreadsheet. He created the spreadsheet using my instructions in one of my videos about least cost feed formulation. If you have not watched that video, I highly recommend watching that video first. I'll be posting the link up here so you can watch that video, and then you can continue watching the troubleshooting technique for least cost feed formulation spreadsheet. So he sent me 2 files, and in each file, he encountered a different error message. And I'm going just to share my screen with you and start troubleshooting the problem. So this is a least cost fit formulation spreadsheet he has created. So just to go through the file, he's got ingredient list here and nutrient composition of the stuff in this column, and the main formula here in 23 in row 23, from B23 all the way to W23, and he followed exactly what I said in that instructional video about least cost fit formulation. But just because of a mistake, he's getting a weird message. So if I click on data, and here if I click on solver, so first I'm just looking at the solver parameters. I can see he has set Z4, which is this cell, which is dietary cost, as a target cell to minimize the dietary cost, which is correct. By changing variables B23 to W23, I showed that Yeah, this row is the feed formula. And also he put some constraints out here. But when I click solve, I'm getting this message about solver results. Variable bounds conflict in binary or all different constraints. This message is not a normal message. If you have created your spreadsheet correctly, you will receive either of two messages. Either the solver window says, solver found a solution, or it will say it couldn't find a feasible solution. So in that case, we know that, yeah, our spreadsheet has been set up correctly, but for some reasons, related to feed formulation techniques, the software is not able to formulate a feasible diet. And we can go through the columns of, nutrient composition of feedstuff, nutrient requirement, dietary specification, and solve the problem. But this message shows me that the Excel spreadsheet has not been set up correctly. So the troubleshooting method for this message is to just open up the solver window and go through the constraints one by one and see where the problem is originated. So let me see if I can get it a little bit bigger. All right, for some reason, it's not possible to zoom on solver window. I hope you can see the solver window. I just zoomed in the spreadsheet as much as I could. So look at the first constraint. It says cells B23 to U23 should be less than or equal 20, the row of 21, which is correct, because if you just look at the row 23, row 23 is the ingredient inclusion rate. It means that it is our final formula, and we have specified a minimum and maximum levels for each ingredient, right? So each of cells in row 23 should be greater than minimum level. It means that greater than row 20 and less than maximum level, or less than row 21. So let's double check. Yeah, they are less than 21, I mean row 21, the maximum level, and they are set up to be greater than the minimum level that we have specified for each ingredient, which is row 20. So V23 should be equal to V21. If you look here, V is vitamin premix and W is mineral premix. And I have talked about this in that instructional video about least cost feed formulation, because we want to use vitamin premix and mineral premix exactly at the rate of 0.25%. So that's why we really need to put the inclusion rate of vitamin premix and mineral premix exactly to equal to 0.25% or 2.5 kilogram per ton. So here he is trying to do that. And he has done for V23, it means that for vitamin premix, and for W23, which is the inclusion rate cell for mineral premix. So far, so good. Z3 should be equal to X3. So Z3, if you just look at the Z3, it's the dietary weight. So he's trying to put it equal to 1, which is true. It means that my diet should be balanced at 100% or 1. If you consider ratio would be 1. I mean, the sum of ratios should be 1. If you consider percentage, in that case, your sum of the inclusion rates should be 100. So it's up to you to consider that as a percent or as a ratio. It's up to you. But here, we don't have any problem with this cell, which is true. So I'm just moving to the next one. Z6 to Z17, Z column is dietary specification. Z6 to Z17, it means that dietary specification for nutrients and for energy should be, here it says, should be less than or equal to X6 to X17. X column is the minimum level for nutrient levels in the diet. For example, if you look at the protein level, we have specified protein level as minimum 20% and as maximum 21.5%, right? And here, by putting that constraint, we are going to tell the software here, Z7, it means that dietary protein should be between 20 and 21.5. What it means is that this cell should be greater than 20 and less than 21.5. This cell should be greater than the minimum level and less than the maximum level, right? But here it was not correct. Here it says Z6 to Z17 should be less than X6 to X17. It means that he's trying to say my dietary specification, my dietary nutrients should be less than the minimum one. Less than, for example, for protein should be less than 20. No, it is wrong. It should be greater than the minimum column. See, these types of mistakes can cause serious problem in your feed formulation. And then you will be confused. Oh, I followed, you know, all the instructions, but why I'm getting, wrong results? So that's why we need to double check our work. There is a saying, I heard this today and I learned that. It's a really good and inspiring statement. It says, inspect what you expect. Try to inspect that. Try to investigate the problem. So the troubleshooting method is just go through your formulas, your constraints, your values, numbers that you have put here. So see, I have selected this one. I'm going to change it. Just press change. And here, I'm just going to change the sign. Now I'm saying Z6 to Z17 should be greater than X column. It means that it should be greater than minimum level, which is true. I'm pressing OK. Next one, Z6 to Z7, I mean dietary protein and dietary energy should be greater than Y6 and Y7. Look, Y6 and Y7 is the maximum level for energy and protein in my diet. I have told my software the maximum level of energy should be 3.1 megacalorie per kilogram, and the maximum level of protein should be 21.5%. So when I'm saying maximum, it means that my dietary specification should be less than that, should not go over that. But here, the constraint is vice versa. It says Z6 to Z7 should be greater than maximum level. Not true. So I'm going to change it and change the sign. It should be, I pressed equal and let's cancel it. See, Z6 and Z7 should be less than Y6 and Y7, less than maximum value. Okay, I pressed OK. Now I corrected the constraint. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible to solve this formula. Now, I'm going to solve the, parameters by pressing solve. Again, it didn't work. Even though we troubleshoot the, two problems regarding the dietary specification, but it didn't work again. So it means that there is more than one problem in this spreadsheet, and we need to investigate it. So I'm going to solver, and here the troubleshooting method is to test each constraint. It means that even though I'm seeing all the constraints are correct, but for some reasons, which is hidden in the spreadsheet, I can't get it worked. So there is a problem in the spreadsheet. In this case, you need to select, a constraint and try to remove it and run the program to see if you can get it worked or not. If you remove, for example, this constraint and then solve the solver parameters, if it works, it means that the problem was because of that constraint. And then you will know the origin of problem and you can solve it. You can do this one by one for each constraint. But for example, for constraint that they are single, like Z3 should be equal to X3. cell Z3, which was dietary weight, should be equal to X3. So it is obvious that there is no problem here. Even though I can check those cells and I can see Z3 is weight of the diet and X3 is the minimum value for the X, for the dietary weight. But if I see any problem in the cells, I need to solve the problem. So look at here. I'm going to remove this constraint. Here I'm saying Z6 to Z17 should be greater than X6 to X17, right? So I'm going to delete this for now and press solve. Solver found the solution. All constraints and optimality conditions are satisfied. Now I solved the fit formulation problem, but I removed one of the most important constraints. It means that I didn't put any constraint on dietary specification, which is not true. Even though mathematically it worked, but it didn't give me the right formula. So now you can go ahead and you can add the constraints. Here is really important. Instead of putting, all the cells from Z6 to Z17 in cell reference and all the cells from X6 to X17 on the constraint cells, which was already in that format, I am going to put each cell separately. See, I'm going to say Z6 should be greater than X6. I'm going to press OK. So I added one condition, one constraint. If I solve it, again, solver found the solution. It means that the problem was not because of the energy cell. I'm going to move ahead and put the second one. Z7 should be greater than the minimum value, X7. Press OK, press solve. Again, solver found the solution. So far, so good. See, I'm repeating the same step, but instead of putting this much of cells in constraint, I'm putting them one by one, separately, to find the origin of the problem. So I'm going to add the next one, which is Z8, and it should be greater than X8. Okay, and solve. Again, it's true. Solver found the solution. No problem so far. I'm going just to continue this. Now I am on phosphor. I'm putting Z9 should be greater or equal to what? X9, phosphor level. Okay, and solve. Here is the problem. Variable bounds conflict in binary or all different constraint. See, this is the error message that I was getting already. And now, because I investigated the constraints one by one, I found that the problem is related to the phosphorus. Look at here. In X9, which is the minimum level for phosphorus, it should be 0.435. But by mistake, my subscriber has put 0.435. It is not a correct number. So I'm going to change it to 435. So 1 dot was extra, right? Now I'm going to solve it. Solver found the solution. This was all the errors that were in this spreadsheet. And for the rest of dietary specification, I'm just putting them as group Z10 to Z17 should be greater than X10 to X17, and I'm pressing OK. And the solver found the solution. All constraints and optimality conditions are satisfied. So, in fact, there were two problems. One problem was my subscriber, by mistake, put dietary specification greater than maximum level and less than minimum level, which was completely wrong. And the second problem was related to, typing the numbers. We need to be careful when we are typing. And if you cannot get the right answer, double check your spreadsheet and see where the problem is originating, right? So now, if you look at the formula, for example, maize, 55.99%, let's say 56%. The software didn't use any wheat or rice broken or soy extract, but it used 33.94% of ground N extract, which I'm not sure what it stands for. Maybe my subscriber can tell me what he meant by putting N extract. Anyways, this is the formula that we are getting for this spreadsheet. But if you want to use these ingredients, for example, like wheat, rice broken, or whatever, that they are at a 0 level, you need to put a minimum level for them. For example, let's imagine I have to use wheat in my diet, and it should be around, let's say, 10%, right? So I'm gonna put here in minimum level 10%, and then solve again. And in my new formula, if I look, see, now the level of maize or corn decreased, and instead of that, it was substituted by wheat by 10%. You can do this for other ingredients as well. So it was the first spreadsheet that my subscriber sent me. I'm going to show you a second spreadsheet that he has sent me as well. And again, he's getting error message in that one as well. So Let's go to the second spreadsheet. Here is his second spreadsheet. See, when you are working on a spreadsheet, look at here, for example, it says sunflower cake, right? But you can't see the rest of the, you can't see the complete words. You can just select all, all the columns, and then from format, here on the home tab, from format, you can choose auto-fit column width. Now you can see, every single ingredient clearly. Okay. Let's just use the solver to solve this feed formulation problem. I'm going to press solve. All right. Look at the message. It says solver could not find a feasible solution. It's a different story. It's different from the message that we got in a previous file. When it says solver could not find a feasible solution, it means that your spreadsheet is correct. Technically, you did a good job, but for some reasons, the software is not able to find a feasible diet. We need to address the issue. It's really simple. If you look at the nutrient composition of ingredients, when I'm looking at the some amino acids levels like methionine plus lysine, which is wrong again. I didn't see this one, but to my subscriber, again, you need to be careful. We don't have methionine plus lysine. We have methionine plus cysteine. So you need to correct this one, it is wrong. Okay, so we are not adding methionine with lysine because they don't have to do anything with each other. We need to put methionine plus cysteine because methionine and cysteine, both of them are sulfur amino acids, and methionine is an essential amino acid. It means that poultry cannot synthesize methionine in their body, but cysteine is non-essential. They can build cysteine by using methionine. And the reason we are putting methionine plus cysteine in the diet, we want to calculate the requirement for these two amino acids, these two sulfur amino acids, which are related to each other, which are working, closely together. We wanna know the requirement for methionine plus cysteine, and then we want to add methionine, synthetic methionine, in a such level as to meet the methionine plus cysteine requirement. Because we don't have cysteine, synthetic cysteine amino acid, but we do have synthetic methionine amino acid, right? And here we are trying to find the requirements for both amino acids and meet that requirements using synthetic methionine. It's the goal. So that's what you should put methionine plus cysteine. Anyways, if you look at the levels of methionine plus cysteine, for corn, for yellow corn, white corn, it's yellow corn for sure. It says 0.36 for W gluten. I guess it would be wheat gluten. It's 0.37. Okay. And then if I come here, see, there is no methionine plus cysteine value for cassava. For soy oil, which is fair because soy oil doesn't have amino acid. But what about for soybean meal? Soybean meal in column H, soybean meal is a protein source. You must put amino acid profile in for protein ingredients. You cannot skip that. Otherwise, the software will not be able to formulate the diet. Now, it is blank. For sunflower cake, again, it's blank. For fish meal, again, it's blank. And my point is that if you look at the level of methionine plus cysteine, he has asked the software to provide 0.99% methionine plus cysteine. By using what? By using the values of 0.36, 0.37, and 0.2, which all of them are under 0.99, the requirement level, right? The only value here, which is above that one, it is for the L-methionine amino acid, which he has put 96, but we know there is limitation for DL-methionine, for all synthetic amino acids. You cannot use synthetic amino acids in high level to provide, to meet the amino acid requirements. It's not correct. So, or for this one, let's say for the next amino acid, it's threonine, right? What is the requirement? 0.88. But here you've got just two values, 0.29 and 0.32, which both of them are under the required level. Again, you might add threonine, but how much threonine? It's not possible to meet the threonine requirements in diet by using synthetic threonine. You can't do that. There is limitation for using synthetic amino acids. You cannot use synthetic amino acids more than 5 kilograms per ton for each synthetic amino acids. For tryptophan, look, the level for maize, for corn is 0.06, okay? For wheat gluten, 0.12. And then all of the cells are blank. And then we are asking the software to blend the ingredients in such a way to provide at least 0.21% tryptophan. It's not possible because you have put only two values for tryptophan, and both of them are way under the requirement, under the 0.21. That's why I asked my subscriber to complete the spreadsheet to include all nutrient compositions for all feed ingredients, and then solve the feed formulation problem. And I'm sure he will end up with the correct answer. So videos. So take home messages from today's video. If you are going to troubleshoot your feed formulation spreadsheet, either if it is least cost feed formulation method, or it's maximum profit, or stochastic, or multiple objective programming, it doesn't matter. You need to follow these steps. First, pay attention to the error message that you are getting in solver window. If it says the solver was not able to find a feasible solution, it means that your spreadsheet technically doesn't have any problem. But if it says, you know, binary errors or other related messages, it means that your spreadsheet has a technical problem. As we saw, maybe, you know, instead of one dot, you have put two dots, or maybe, you know, you have put something in a numerical cell and converted it to a character cell or factor cell. And, you know, for example, especially in statistics, we have definitions for numerical variables and character variables. We call character variable or factor variable, both are the same. For example, when you are writing a name like soybean meal, it's a name, it is character. But when you are putting a number like, I don't know, 2%, 20%, so this is a number and it should be numerical. If in a numerical cell, which is supposed to be numerical, you put something that converted to character, then you will have a problem in solver windows. So that's why you need to double check. So the next step is to double check all the constraints. If you have put the signs correctly or not. For example, dietary specification should be greater than minimum values and less than maximum values, not vice versa. You need to double check this. And try to eliminate the constraints one by one and try to, you know, formulate the diet using solver window to find the problem. When you eliminated, you know, the problematic cell, you will see your formula is converging. It means that you are getting the right answer. But to find that cell, you need to eliminate, you know, constraints and to find that. And after correcting the cell, then you can import, you know, proper constraint again in the solver window. And my last suggestion, try to complete nutrient compositions of feed ingredients in your spreadsheet as much as you can. Try not to skip even one possible value. If you don't know, let's say, I don't know, tryptophan level of X or Y ingredient, search for that. Search on internet. Search in feed formulation books to find that and try to have a complete feed formulation spreadsheet before running the program. So I hope today's video was helpful for you and you can troubleshoot your spreadsheet as of now, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and as always, leave your questions down there in the comments area. Have fun and have a wonderful New Year 2023.